wonderful people, close ones to me, joining together and living on the land and nature and a beautiful house and doing a lot of creative arts and theater and joyful things to the heart, for the heart. So I've been feeling really upset living in the city. So I thought, I want to live on the land. I like to be close to wonderful people. So why not create a little village and come back to the roots where we used to, in our ancient memories, how tribes used to live. That kind of be a way of coming together as a village. I see the core team as being only a matter of a dozen people, so that's intimate and safe and stable. And I see it based on sustainable systems, alternative energy sources, permaculture, and agriculture that's organic, and in terms of architecture, sacred geometry too, arts and theater, and healing. What else could one want? Has to be near the water. Thank you.
There's some more chairs around on this side.
And the size of the room is small, but I'm going to have to move around, and you might have to move your head like this. Because it's spread all around. Okay, shall I start? Yeah. Okay, hi, and this is my little masterpiece's baby kind of thing. And it's been a really beautiful process for me to really own this kind of spiritual birth, because it's really an important thing for me to have put it onto paper and in the models, and really make a commitment to myself to do this for a life, to create a healing village. And what you'll see on the walls is sketches and images and impressions. I don't have a land. I do have a land internally, but not out there, and I don't have it bought or anything, but it will happen. So what I've done is created the vision for now, and the main kind of, the core of it is a village that is based on healing, theater, and ritual, and it's in a sustainable manner. So the principles are, and I call it the kin of Kiva because the core of it is a ritual place where people come together in a Kiva dome structure, which I'll tell you more about later. And the kin is, of course, a group of close people. It's based on love, sacred ceremonies, arts and theater, sustainable systems, organic architecture, and sacred geometry. And the way I set up my thesis, which I'm writing, is the chapters are built on these titles, and it's starting with the spark, like the tulip. I'm in love with tulips. You'll see here, and my good friend Pia, she made me a plate of tulip, and she didn't know that I did this healing center, but there's a mountain on it, and there's something about the flowering. So I started with the spark idea, and the spark, which is the mystery, where God is the creator of all things. And what is that little thing that creates the seed wanting to open up? What is that essence? So for me, that equals to the vision for where you birth the thing. And then you need minerals, right, to make it grow. And then for me, that's the team, like the molecules catalyzing things and getting the group together strong. And the water is like the village ripples of sacred geometry. I'll explain it later. And then the seed, which is the core, the village. No, it's the Kiva, which is this place here, which is located at the top of the mountain. And I'm not totally attached to that, like in terms of future plans, but it's good to have a vision of having it separate from the village in itself. The residential village is here, and then the more sacred areas on the mountain. Then the earth, which is grounding the project into how can I really manifest this. So I'm talking about that in the chapter about sustainable resources and alternative energies and permaculture and all those natural building materials and organic food, etc. And then the air, which you have to bring spirit into it. So the spirit, meaning the ceremonies and ritualizing the day. I feel like it's important for the community to come together and let go of the day-to-day and do sacred ceremony together if it's from any kind of tradition that is appropriate for that group. And it could be also dream time, getting together, sleeping over here. These benches are designed to sleep on them. And it's creating a very sacred ritual in terms of bringing fire and dance and coming back to a tribal feeling, village feeling. And the sun, the sacred arts, is theater and fine arts and sculpture, doing environmental projects and many, many different things that people would come, the visitors as well as the residents. And then the flower itself, the future, the blossoming, whatever that would lead into, is unknown yet. And that's basically it for now. I don't know how I'm going to show you this with everybody standing there, but you might have to shift. Sorry about that. I didn't know this. Just to, this is the goddess section. I had to acknowledge there was a birth of this whole thing in terms of Mother Earth and my own self, to really acknowledge the desire to actualize this village. And then this is kind of a more abstract way of looking at the deeper spiritual meaning to me. If we're looking at on a cosmological level, on the universal level, for me, the Big Bang, of course, is what we know is the beginning. It might be even more than that, we don't know. But that is what made us, and then the fire, and then the birth of the spiral, according to these drawings, and the manifestation of it inside that core fire, and then the birth of the Vesica Pisces, which is a really sacred opening that happens in also the cell, the stoma. Inside the cell there's an opening that looks exactly like this, and also in our bodies, the eyes and the sexual organs, it's a portal, an opening to another kind of reality, not reality, but a doorway, a gateway to another, shall we say, dimension, but it's not that spacey, it's grounded. And from that, I see the birth of the egg, and all these things you're going to see implemented in the village layout. And then the birth of the atom, there might have been before that, but for me, it comes in this sequence. And then what happened for me, it was very interesting. A few months ago, I was sitting in class and doing these spirals, double spirals, like crazy, like all the time. So what is going on? So then I looked in the library and I found this other person, man, Charles Ross. He had done the documentation of the sequence of the sun. And he had used wood panels to see how the sun is burning the wood. And under a whole year, the sun made the loop like this.
Wow.
And after half a year, went back and did this. And I thought, wow. So I'm in love with that form. So that's what you see it everywhere. And here's the Vesica Pisces, this opening, the eye to the soul, the stoma and the cell, and the gateway. Meaning, this is the residential area, and this is the sacred area, also in the layout of the village. And going through it will be through a lake that has the shape of the Vesica Pisces. You can swim through it, you can boat, you can go around, ignore it, or you can walk on the water. And then the birth of the village, like the embryo. And that's pretty self-explanatory. These are, I'll go back here and I come back there. You can still sit where you are. Oops. There's a little pin there. Then, using the spiral form, I started to feel like there needed to be something in the middle. And according to people who write sacred geometry, they talk that it's also known in a whirlpool or in a storm, there's always a calm eye, right? Mm-hmm. Calm middle. And I feel like this Kiva dome structure should be the anchor of the whole village, holding it inside there. So that started to be birthed, and then I felt like it also needed to be contained in a cauldron. So that's what's happening in the Kiva. There's a little bit of a holding of crystal or fire, whatever needs to be there at the very bottom part of it. And then the birth of the egg, and the egg for me is where you wait for it to hatch. You don't push it, but there's a natural growth. And then it has to be also contained, and the energy of the earth holds it. And then the images or whatever can be created in there. And the egg is harnessed in this building, and it became a dome to hold the Kiva, which is underground. It's the female principle, and the male dome is the one that's holding it above. And the joining of sky and earth, the joining of the yin and yang. And then here's the symbology of that. Here's the layout of the plan. And then for theater, there might be a mechanism where you have ropes where you can put down sets of different things. And there might be a crystal that you also have you have to hire an engineer to do this. But the idea is to, whatever is harnessed inside could be brought out, and the crystal could be brought out to the air and radiate outwards. And here are two other options of how to create the Kiva. You can look at it. The idea is to keep this bottom part as empty as possible, for a place for nothingness. Just go in and be with yourself, or individual, like the Hopi Indians and other natives who use the Kiva. And then I'll come back to the, oh, those are little images there of how it would look like. You can look at that later. I don't want to keep you too long.
Where can you get land in this town? When can you get land?
Right.
Go live there.
We need a realtor now.
Not business-oriented, pushy, kind of more investors. Yeah. It was amazing to create the topography, because usually you have a given, and here I had to sit and do, well, I think I should go like this, straight. And here's the energetic vertical spiral of the village. How I see what's happening is that whatever is created will be grounded into the earth from the residential village, which is, you farm, you have vegetables, you're down to earth, you bring it down here day to day, you have visitors, and then on special days you go up here and you create whatever you want to. that is in spirit and intention. And that balance is what is the core. Then there's a section here. Yes, and here's also the energetic thing. I talked about the portal, the Vesica Pisces, that to go from the mundane to the sacred, there needs to be a gateway, and an acknowledgement. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to be totally strict. You can just take a little trip up here too, but it's nice. And this is more like the buildings and the functions of the different buildings that are down here is described up there. I think that's it. And then the tulip and the spiral. I work. Do you want to hear a little more, or are you tired?
More.
I'm talking about the Fibonacci spiral. I'm doing this double spiral, but the top one is the expanding one, and the bottom one is the Archimedean spiral, which is a more closed one. It's more contained. And the reason for that is, it's the same reason I was talking about here, is whatever is created here, I want to emanate outwards. And the Fibonacci spiral is in the plants. If you look, it's in the seashells. It's a very interesting form of spiral. And also, this Fibonacci sequence is 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. So what it basically does, in order to progress, it has to consider the number behind it in order to become the next one. So 3 plus 2 is 5. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's more individual. And this is like considering your past to move forward. So I like that. But I didn't want to disregard this either, because it's important to have sort of an order to it too. And then the circle and the egg in the Kabbalah tradition, the circle is the letter Shin, which have 3 fangs of tooth like this, and it's like 3 flames. So it's actually, they're talking about the fire in the circle. And it's also 360 in numerology, which is also the number of degrees in the circle. So that's an interesting thing. And then the Vesica Pisces, which is Ayin, which is the I, is that letter, which had 2 flames. So there's a lot of interesting things and looking at many levels of how it all comes together. So if you have any questions, I think I covered it all.
Eva, can you explain exactly what you're saying? Because Pisces and 2 flames, or
Oh, in the Kabbalah and the Tarot, the I, the kind of the name for I also has Ayin means I in Hebrew, and it starts with this letter, which is Ayin, and also has these 2 flames. It's kind of, I'm sorry, I should make it a little more explicit. It looks like this, the letter. And that is really like 2 flames. And it's pronounced like this. And it's just more like on a numerology, Kabbalistic way of looking at it. So I was just thinking what is behind things, you know. And I felt also that the circle is important here to have the fire in a circle so it's contained and not just like all over the place. And then you can come and look here. There's a little ladder. You can come down. One day, maybe this crystal can be raised like this and bring out the energy. And what else? These are also petals of flowers.
you'll stay and look some more and talk with the artists themselves and enjoy yourselves. Thanks very much for coming.
Now it's time.
Well, this is a great book. Well, with this technology, you know, I had this thing on the Jewish renewal and everything, and after I was like, why didn't we do
It
something?
was inspirational.
You liked it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, for a center, I want to do a healing center. It's very incredible. Now, are they calling you Eva? What's this new
Eva,
thing
change
now?
my name.
I don't know if I can do it.
Well, too bad, you got it. Somebody called
How do
me
you do
scientist
it?
at heart.
Eva? Or how's it say it?
Eva, it's Swedish.
Eva. Eva. But you don't like it.
Eva.
You better make sure you make that thing in it. No one makes a mistake of calling you Eva?
I hate that when that happens.
No.
Did I give you slack for it? No, I never.
Once.
You never. Once only?
Yeah, the first time it happened.
Should have gotten more.
Yeah. She says she did this program too.
Who? Pia, of course. Att den var till att vara
Yeah. I did it.
Well, I like those pants, man.
You know Itai, remember Itai, Michael?
Right.
Look at
The
this.
sound of a new society.
But
Cut his
that
hair.
is what
Lama
the volatility